What's up, America? And welcome to another Makes Me Wanna Holler, a world gone mad. Listen, I don't even know where to start, y'all. If y'all been paying attention like I've been paying attention and watching the news, whether you watch MSNBC, CNN, or any of the liberal newscasts other than Fox, which is ultra conservative and supports the mega base, then y'all are seeing or have seen what I'm seeing. Now, if you got two screws of common sense, something is going to tell you that something is wrong. America, today marks a pivotal time in the history of this country. The guardrails have been dismantled and the demonic spirits have been turned loose to dismantle the foundation and the fundamental principles which made this a great nation, in which all who came to these shores, if I might add, were immigrants. Even the first settlers who colonized in this country. I don't know anyone in this country who is not an immigrant. Even the Anglo-Saxon, so-called Protestant, whatever you want to call them, whites, they're immigrants as well. You trace their lineage back, they come from Europe, France, and Germany, and New Zealand, and all these other different countries. Back in the day, they came to this country for one purpose: to rob, pillage, and plunder, and amass wealth, and rob this nation, America, in which the indigenous people, which were the Indians, sat on a continent that was rich in resources, rich in minerals and all kind of things that they were going to take back to Europe and Britain and get wealthy. But it didn't happen that way. They saw something even greater. They saw that they could take this country by many means and manipulations from the indigenous people of this country. My guess is when they looked at the Indians, they probably said to themselves, look at these savages. They didn't realize they wasn't that much savages until their asses were starving. It was near annihilation and death because they didn't know how to work the land. But long story short, I don't want to get all into that. Here's what I want to get. Elon Musk and Donald Trump have wreaked havoc on our democratic values in an attempt to usher in white supremacy and return the levers of power back to white conservative races who feel that they should dominate society and control the levers of power. A lot plays into that. And it goes all the way back to slavery, post-slavery, during the Reconstruction era, and all this other kind of stuff, which was the soil and the evil thing that rallied up hatred and resentment and prejudice amongst a particular group of slaves who they broke our backs building this country on and made and amassed great wealth. They feel threatened. I look back 20 years ago. I did the research back to the 1929, 1950s, which I'll show you. And I looked at the Senate, I looked at Congress, I looked at the whole political offices that were being held at that time, I didn't see many very black faces. I don't even think that they even considered or even had the furthest anticipation that it was possible that a black person from a slave or from former slaves could ever sit in the seat of the most powerfulest nation in this country, that they feel that they have a privilege and an entitlement to, because their forefathers came over here and stole and killed and pillaged and plundered in this land to take control and seize this continent, and now they refer to as America the Great. But now times have changed. Through many struggles that the freed slaves had to endure and be subjected to in order to gain any type of standing or footing to become citizens and have a say-so in this country, in the beginning nation of this country. I'm telling you, my brothers and sisters, I'm telling you, America, white, black, Spanish, you name it, wherever you come from, if you're born in this country, you came to this country in search of a better life, in search of prosperity for you, your family, and so forth, or you were escaping or running from, tyranny in the countries that you came from, and you were looking for a refuge, America was a place to come. At least that's the way it appeared. Or was it just smoke and mirrors? As I said, they feel threatened by the economic and political gains that blacks have made over the past decade or 2 decades, and pose an inevitable threat to their culture and their way of life. Now, as I've pointed out to you in the opening of my podcast, there is a dark history about America, one that has laid dormant for many years, but has no less festered into a cancerous tumor. But one might ask, has America really changed for the better? Or are the racist ideologies of Jim Crow buried beneath the social and political fabric of this country? Donald Trump and his mega supporters are hell-bent on stripping Black America of all the gains made through the civil rights movement. This is a 2-part series exposing the real objective of Make America Great Again, which denotes making America white again. Sit back, hold on to your seat, because once I reveal these things to you visually, with all of the information and supportive documentation, you will see it for what it really is. This is strictly all racist. This is what it is. And Black America, y'all better wake up. Because in a minute, you're gonna think, one would, I remember somebody, we used to ask ourselves, could this ever happen in our day and time? Could slavery ever be reenacted again in America? Could we be subject or put in a position such as forced servitude, abuse, cruelty, inhumane treatment, and the whole 9 yards? I mean, the history is there. The proof is there. The evidence is there. And I'm gonna let y'all see it. So sit back, and after you watch these series, then you come to a conclusion of what you think it really is. This is not a joke. This is not a joke, my friends. Hold tight now. DEI, dismantling the Civil Rights Division, actually flipping it. They flipped the Civil Rights Division, so no longer it will protect and, minorities and African Americans and, blacks in this country who have been oppressed for almost 40 years. 400 to be exact. I'm telling you, America, it's time that you take off the blinders off your eyes and see it for what it really is. And the only thing that is going to stop this man is total revolt. You're going to have to go to the streets. Ain't no peaceful protests because Trump doesn't understand any of that, nor does he care. He's enriching himself. And we're going to talk about all of that. I'm just going to try to bring it home as much as I can so you can see it. I'm Nicky Terrell. Sit back. This is Makes Me Wanna Holler, a World Gone Mad.
So you want to live in a white-only country?
Not necessarily white-only, but a country that is clearly based on a European model in which whites will basically remain the overwhelming majority in perpetuity.
Okay, how do you achieve that?
Well, that's an excellent question. Donald Trump has got some first good steps in mind. He wants to make sure no more illegal immigrants come into the country, and he wants to make sure that all illegal immigrants here go back. He wants to end birthright citizenship. He wants to put at least a temporary ban on Muslim immigration.
What happens with Asians? What happens with African Americans? What happens with Latinos?
What happens to my
You presented me with a very limited view of the United States.
You're saying the United States is a place anybody can come and turn it into anything you want, and the people who built this country and established its institutions, if they glimmer away, so what? You are promoting a process that will reduce my people to a minority. You want more powerful Latinos. That comes at the expense of my people's power.
We're 17% of the population,
Right.
and we only have 3 senators. So therefore, we don't have the political representation that we deserve.
And you want more and more and more.
Of course, because we only have 3 senators.
How much political?
At this point, 14 senators.
And 50 years from now, how many would you like?
Let's talk about 50 years from now. In 2044,
Yes.
white non-Hispanics will become a minority.
Yes.
Is that what you're afraid of?
Mr. Ramos, it's fantastic for you, for my people to lose power and become a minority. That's fantastic for you. How does it feel for
Because
me?
it is our country.
Our
Mr. Tate.
country, our
It is our country. Don't you think we both have the same rights in this country?
I think that despite this nonsense in the Declaration about anybody being anyone,
Excuse
the
me,
white
you
people,
don't
the white
think
people.
we are all created equal?
No, what you want to do is change this country into an entire nation in which white people will become refugees in their own land
So
if your vision comes through.
You don't want to
True.
live alongside Mexicans?
Now, why is it wrong for me not to want my neighborhood to change?
You'll
If
be-
my neighborhood is European, if my neighborhood they don't keep chickens in the backyard that crow at 3 in the morning.
What are you
they
talking
don't.
about?
I'm
That's a
talking
complete
about
stereotype.
Mexicans.
That's a complete stereotype.
Yes, and stereotypes are all true.
It's
aren't
a
they?
racist stereotype, what you're saying.
Oh, racist! Give me a break.
What are you going to do with the thousands of Muslims,
We certainly
American
will.
citizens, who are serving in the military?
I'm sure that we just couldn't possibly survive with all those Muslim Navy Rangers. Yes, I'm sure that's true.
That is not right.
No, I'm talking
You
about
cannot make
Muslim.
fun of people who are saving our lives.
They want special holidays and special food in
So if you
school
don't like their
restaurants.
religion, you don't have to join them. That's fine.
Well, no,
but,
they are-
But,
wait,
but
I'm
also,
not-
but you can't discriminate against them simply because
course.
you.
Of course, anyone should have the right to discriminate against anyone he wishes. And the point is...
But not by the law, Mr. Taylor. You can't do that.
I think the law is absolutely incorrect.
Do you feel that whites are superior, are more intelligent than blacks?
I think, on average, whites are more intelligent than blacks, and North Asians are more intelligent than whites.
How can you say that?
How can you think otherwise?
Mr. Taylor,
what evidence would you have to think that a pygmy is, on average, is just as intelligent as a Dane? Why would you think that? The entire record of history is completely consistent with the assumption that black Africans are less intelligent on average than Asians or Caucasians.
That's absurd. That's repugnant and absurd.
Repugnant to you?
Yes, of course.
Why would you even entertain the possibility that on average a pygmy is as intelligent as a Japanese?
The comparison that you are trying to make, it is simply impossible because of historical circumstances, because economic conditions, because of the moment.
More excuses. We have to be willing to say to all those who are non-European, we wish you well, but this territory is for us. And sorry, we have the right to be us, and only we can be us.
So you want me to leave?
Under certain circumstances, yes, we would ask you to go. Unless whites are prepared to exclude people, then they will be shoved aside. That is the fate which I will fight until my last breath.